You're listening to the Public Speaking Podcast.
The podcast where real humans talk about communication, presentations, meetings,
and what happens when you stand on stages around the world.
The good stuff.
And the awkward stuff.
And the stuff nobody teaches you.
All right, let's jump into today's episode. Welcome back to yet another episode of the Public Speaking Podcast. My name is Lucas. I'm the CEO of Headgain and amateur speaker. And with me in the studio, this guy, the dog lover, the guy that loves to bake in the sun, to be out on the islands, but also is an excellent public speaker, a public speaking coach, the best guy on the planet Earth, my dear, dear friend, my colleague in the studio, Mr. Alexander Grabner.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And I do feel that we need to change up. So I do some intro for you because every single week when we do this podcast, I keep on getting even if I have a tan now and I burnt my face the other day, I get redder and redder for every single time. And the ones who's watching the YouTube, you will probably see that my color is changing. But thank you so much, Lucas. Yes, I am a public speaker and I'm a public speaking coach. I help people like you to really flourish on stage whenever you have a chance and whenever you have an opportunity to speak your ideas and speak your thoughts. Today, we have another amazing Speaker X edition of the Public Speaking Podcast. With us today is a woman. When I first got to touch on the subject that she is working with and going into, I go, wow, okay, I don't know too much of this. I haven't experienced it, but if I can just take a little tiny bit, I can probably help other people and also help myself avoiding ending up in that situation. So with us today is a woman who is really, you need to focus because everything that comes out of her mouth is just words of wisdom. Even if we have a segment called Words of Wisdom, it's going to be words of wisdom from start to finish. So without any further ado, I want to welcome you to the studio and to our listeners, no other than Linda Berg. And you see, yay! Did you see how I went with the Swedish ba instead of Berg?
Thank you. Highly appreciated.
Linda, a warm welcome. And the wonderings that I have now is that who are you? What do you do? And why is everything that comes out of your mouth words of wisdom?
That's a good question. Who am I? Where do I begin? I am a former HR professional that is currently focusing on my passions. I have extensive educational and work experience within the people and culture field, but felt a few years back that, it's time for me to do what I really love or thrive. So I work as a strength-based coach. I have my business MindPartner AB, where I support leaders and teams to get more efficient in their leadership, have a better team collaboration, raise their self-awareness, and also understand each other better.
Oh, wow.
That's kind of what I am, what I do.
Cool.
Where I come from.
That is so nice. So we'll figure out why the words of wisdom, everything that comes out of your mouth is that. And I guess that this will be the end result of the entire podcast episode. So what we have now is a segment that usually puts people on a little bit on edge. But now it's time for us to jump into this episode's
10 Tough Thoughts with Alex.
And Luke is doing nothing in this segment. That means that I'm going to give you 10 tough thoughts, meaning that there's going to be 2 different choices, and you're just to say the one that you prefer the most. Not harder than that, but it's going to be tough, and it needs to be rapido, so it needs to be rapid. All right, are you ready for the 10 tough thoughts?
Yes.
Okay. Fast food or fine dining?
Fine dining.
Water or wine?
Water.
Oh, okay. Swimming or walking?
Walking.
Stay at home or travel?
Stay at home.
Stay at home. Car or motorcycle? Off-grid or city?
City.
Red or blue?
Blue.
Blue? Okay. Online or face-to-face?
Face-to-face.
Bed or sofa? Bed. Summer or winter?
Summer.
This has been
10 Tough Thoughts with Alex.
and Lucas doing nothing in this segment. Perfect. All right. So this
But
no,
what?
now
Okay, so fine dining, but you prefer water. Is this? I'm seeing the pattern coming over and over. I'm just waiting for someone to go all the bad choices. But
yeah.
but is it like that?
No, I would say, I mean, I can't live without water. I love wine. I have a ambition to become a sommelier one day.
Oh.
But
Oh.
But water is, the base. If I don't have water, and that's basically what I drink from morning to night. I'm not a coffee person, so I drink water all of the time. So without water, no me.
Alex, we need to add a coffee or tea question here.
That is true, but then it will be 11 tough thoughts. But
Yeah,
hey,
well,
let's
I can
make it
go
11
on,
then.
but yeah. Thank you for sharing and being a little bit more personal. I have more questions, but we're going to digress from topic if I just go in.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So when you looking back, it's just going to be straight to the question here. When did you first realize that burnout wasn't just something that happens around you, but something that you need to understand more deeply? But when did you have that epiphany, so to say?
I had the epiphany a few years back when I was suffering myself from burnout feelings. And I had been suffering from burnout feelings before that as well, but this time it was worse than ever. I spent my entire vacation sleeping and crying, and I was completely exhausted. So I found myself in a situation where I could no longer just ignore it. I was like, if I don't do anything about this right now, I will end up on sick leave. And at the time, I also witnessed someone that had been on sick leave for a decade. And I got scared that I would end up in the same situation because I also felt like this isn't the first time that I am in this situation where I feel this kind of burnout symptoms. So what do I need to do differently to not end up in this situation again? And where can I start when it comes to kind of get to a better level than where I'm at right now?
Mhm. So you were experiencing that, and then you came back from. What was the first thing that you did? Was it like you realized during that vacation slot, or was it when you came back to work afterwards? You were looking back and like, I need to change something. What happened?
It was kind of a intertwined event happening kind of situation, because at the same time, I was also getting certified as a CliftonStrengths coach.
Ah.
And while I was doing that certification, of course, I learned more about myself, my natural behavior, and my talents. And doing that, and then in relation to that, asking myself questions around my talents connected to how I get stressed out. That's kind of how I started it, and being like, okay, if I can analyze myself from a stress point of view based on my behavior, where does that lead me? I could see clear patterns in some of my talents, like these are what's causing me stress right now. And then the next step after that would, of course, be to kind of be thinking about what would be the actions I can take to minimize that. And so what I did was I took a resilience training, more about, how do I build that resilience to not get stressed out, in general speaking, but then also working with my set of talents. And again, comes back to self-awareness. It comes down to, understanding my talents and how they come to play, and maybe change that, tweak that a bit, not let them take over when shit hits the fan.
I just have a follow-up question really before Lucas, you got look, what was the hardest thing in the process of coming back, understanding, going through, and then figuring out the dots? Because it sounds to me like, oh, it epiphany itself, just like, oh, these are things. May I ask you, what's the hardest thing of coping through this and finding that way out of that burnout sensation and getting burned out?
I think the hardest part was realizing that life is kind of dipping away from underneath of me. Like the stress is taking too much of a toll on me. And I had promised myself after my dad passed away when I was 15, that, I want to take life seriously because we only get one and we don't know how long it lasts. And it can end whenever. And I really felt like I do not want stress to be what's going to be what kills me in the end. And I think that was the hardest realization, that what I am doing right now is not leading me towards a healthy, happy, long life where I will thrive and I will enjoy it to the fullest for as long as it lasts. I don't know how long. But what I am doing right now is rather causing me a less healthy life and a lifestyle that is not giving me what I want to feel fulfilled and to enjoy life.
It's a heavy subject. I mean, I think a lot of people can relate to, well, just looking at time, we all realize that we have a set amount of time on this planet, and what we choose to do with that time will affect us both mentally, physically, and whatever we leave behind. And I very much relate to, like, wanting to do the best of my time that I have, and want to enjoy it and not look back in the end and see things just not done the way that I should have done them. I'm just curious on this. You were already, you were going into realizing you had burnout, but you were also investigating and training yourself into becoming a CliftonStrengths based coach. How did you come into that? Was it just like came from the side, or was like, why were you discovering that at the same time?
Not as complicated as it might sound to begin with. In the company that I worked for at the time, they used CliftonStrengths as an approach for the business,
Ah,
for the leadership development, for the team development in-house. So instead of taking external coaches, they had internal coaches trained. So it was a big company. So I got trained as one of the internal coaches there, certified by Gallup, kind of how it started.
mm, gotcha. So moving from that point then, and moving a little bit onwards, you started helping other people with stress and burnout symptoms. What was that? What was it that led to that? Like, how did your own experience affect that, and when and how did you move forward to actually using the strengths and helping people relieve burnout and stress?
I think part of my process in getting out of the situation was to kind of find a recipe that would help me, because I felt like I can't trust the employer to fix things. I can't trust the healthcare system to fix anything or to help me. So what I did was to create a recipe for myself. Like, what are the pieces that I need to look into to get to a better place? So I put that together and felt that it actually worked for me. And then I started trying that out on other people that were experiencing burnout feelings as well. So that is kind of what led me to taking that outside now with my own business and continuing doing that for people, leaders, employees, whomever, to kind of would continue doing that kind of recipe and coaching for individuals. But I would also say that, I mean, this eliminating burnout thing is kind of a passion project of mine. Burnout isn't something that's new. It's not something that people haven't heard about before. But I really feel like if we can look at it from a strength point of view, I think we're onto something. And I think it comes down to a more positive vibe. So it's not what I do in the entirety of my business. It's a passion project of mine because I've seen too many people suffering from burnout. And as a Gallup research shows, 76% of employees experience burnout symptoms at least sometime. And 76% is a lot of us. And I still don't understand how, after all these years and after all of those, topics around burnout and people addressing it, we're still at that stage. And in Sweden alone, around 800 people each year are estimated to die as a result of excessive workload. And I just can't fathom how we can stand by that and allow that to happen still to this day. So I feel like the responsibility is shared, but the individual need to do more. And I think strength-based approach is something that will help.
When you throw out the number there, instantaneously react to it like, holy, what? No, that cannot be true. But because what I see, and you let me know if this is a wrongful truth that I have or see, but what I have as looking upon this is, why do you think that so many ambitious, caring, and like high performing, high stakes individual people end up being exhausted, or is this just a wrongful thing? Is it every doesn't is there specific clientele or clientele? That's not even an English word, but is there a
Clientele?
specific clientele? Thank you. Is there a specific clientele that you see has a higher likelihood of ending up exhausted, or is it across the board?
No, I would say it's across the board, which is also interesting when I coach people and I look at their strengths profile, etc. It's not like everyone has the same kind of profile and everyone has the same kind of natural talents. It changes. So it all has to do with, I think, from my point of view, what I have seen across the years working in the people and culture field and having a lot of people, employees, and also friends of myself and me as an individual and others. What I've witnessed is that it's usually a combination. Like when people become burnout, it's usually a combination of too much at work and too much at home. Very rarely is it only, a really bad situation at work. Because if you have a good situation at home where you can recover and you can find, peace, have that outlet, then normally you can cope with whatever is going on at work. But if you have a situation where your home is stressful and work is stressful, you have nowhere to breathe. And that's when kind of collides and when people kind of crash. So I think that's usually when people feel really bad, what I've seen at least, is that combination. And of course, there's a lot of, research that shows what kind of factors there are that impacts burnout symptoms from an employer point of view. So there's a lot of work that the employer can do to help avoid getting people to that stage. But I don't see a pattern that you need to have certain talents or behavioral patterns, or that you need to be a certain kind of individual to be at risk for burnout. I think it all comes down to self-awareness and how much we get invested in things, regardless what kind of things that are.
I remember the first time I talked about stress. It's a memory that's been like following me my entire life. I think I was 16, 17. I had my dad gave me a gym card, and I talked to the personal trainer at the gym. And I remember this because it's been carried with me. I don't know why, but I talked about like what I wanted to do, why I wanted to work out, and then I said I didn't really have time because I was stressed. And then I remember he looked back at me and he said, well, this is just a 2000, early 2000, that was the time, right? The years, kind of new disease. It doesn't exist. And it's made me think, because it was like this buzzword, to be stressed. And it carried on, and everyone was talking about it. In every job interview I had growing up between like 18 to 20, 25, it was all about like how stress resilient you are and how much you could actually handle. And you never talked about burnout in a way. But so it feels to me like burnout, in a sense, is a very new thing that's come around the last 15 years. Do you think it is like that? Or has it always been there? Or like what is happening? Why is this becoming so big?
But to this day, what you heard there, that stress is not real, that it's just a made up word. I mean, the International Classification of Diseases, they don't classify burnout as a disease. It's a syndrome based on, work-related stress that's been going on for too long. So I think that is a root cause as well, why people don't get the proper help from the healthcare system as well, that it's not recognized as a disease. And I'm not saying that it should be, but I'm saying that people need to get help if they are unwell and incapable of working. But I don't think it's a new concept. I think the society today is built up in a way where those experiences are prone to kind of hit us. I think everything that's going on, just compared to, we talked about before we started recording as well, us growing up, just think about that time. It's not that long ago. I'm not that old.
Wait, time out. Okay, so it was not like
looking at some age when I was young was very old.
Yeah, exactly. Same here. Like passing 40, people like, that is really old. I'm like, it was just a few moments ago. I was 20 and 18 and smelled like
It was
pee.
just like
I'm sorry.
yesterday.
Yeah. It was like yesterday. Yeah, coming back to this. Sorry about
but what I mean is that, just look at social media, all of those impressions that we have going around all the time. There's so many things that are pushing us. You should be this way. You should act this way. You should have this. You should be wanting this. You should behave like this. There's so many things around us, surrounding us, from approaching us from all kinds of channels. And it's 24/7. It never stops. And I think you have that at work. If you sit at a desk right now working, you have a notification coming up. Someone is pinging you. You have the Teams meeting. You might have back-to-back meetings the entire day. Back in the days, I don't think that was quite as heavy. You might have someone coming into your office and interrupting you, and then you had a conversation, and then they left, and then you can continue working. But that constant kind of, someone is always trying to get your attention. I think that is a root cause to why there's so much stress today. That's one of the aspects, at least. And then I think it's just too much from all different angles. And I think we need to learn to adapt and deal with the situation that's currently around us.
So transitioning in this, it makes perfect sense. Transitioning this though, from all these things and emotions that you felt and all the pathways that and then everything that you learned, when did you say, okay, you know what, Linda, it's time for you to take a stage? Like, when did you start realizing that it would be very egoistic to you to keep everything? Like, when did you want to share this, all the knowledge? Because walking the pathway as you have discovered it, and then it's a big gigantic leap. Some people just say, hey, I'm just going to stay here, I'm never going to share my solutions. But where did you realize that, you know what, this is going to be more than just me in this picture?
I think sharing is caring, and it goes for all different things. And I had a very close friend of mine was on sick leave caused by burnout just a year ago, 1.5 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, the healthcare said, hey, this is not a problem we can help you with. This is an employer problem. Go back to work. And she said to me, she was close to ending her own life. Because what's the point of living if this is how I am to feel? And that made me really feel like I can't be quiet about this. If I can do anything to help one individual to avoid coming to that stage, avoid ever suffering from burnout symptoms to begin with, worth it. So it is a passion project of mine, because I don't want people to suffer from this, and I don't want people to either end their lives or kill based on the symptoms that they get from excessive workload or from burnout symptoms. It's just, I'm done. I'm fed up with this. And I feel like whatever I can do, and if I can share my message and I can share my method and my recipe to anyone that would be interested in hearing it, I'm up for it.
Because what I hear is it's fixable, right? It's fixable.
It is.
You can fix it. It doesn't have to be the way the rest of life goes by. Yeah, wow.
Exactly.
How, when you start speaking about this to people, are they resonating with it? Do they say like, oh, where have you been all my life? Or what is the what are your responses that you're getting now?
Yeah, a lot of people resonate with the whole aspect of it. I think what is different in my message to what people normally hear is that I have a little bit of a positive direction to it. It's not about you being weak. It's not about you doing something wrong. It's not about you having flaws that needs to be fixed. This is about you being a bit too strong, a bit too good at what you're doing and who you are. And you need to learn to kind of, adapt the way you approach things to optimize your behavior not to change it, but to kind of tune in and out whenever the situation calls for it. And I think that is something that appeals and resonates a bit more with people than, hey, something's wrong with me, I need to fix that. That's a bit more,
I, I, I,
down-putting.
I only heard this that there's people. It's that you're too good at your work. Well, well, I've been stressed, but I don't think I came close to the wall or to the edge. Does that mean then that I'm not good at my work, Linda?
No, Alex.
It usually happens to ones that are too good at what they're doing. I'm like, what I'm not saying. This is not.
Not at all.
No.
Not at all. But maybe you have, over the years and already from the beginning, learned how to behave, to deal with your kind of natural talents in a way that they don't cause you stress. Or you have ways to live that helps you recover, that helps you energize, and, you have the outlet for it. So even if you get all of that stress in, it doesn't stick with you because it kind of just flushes all away because you have, dogs and nature around you or whatever it is that you love.
See, I told you guys, every single word that comes out of her mouth is words of wisdom. Told you. See, I am okay with my job. Apparently, I have a trigger of elsewhere. Dogs and nature. Yeah. Boats, music, motorcycles. Yeah.
Most often it's motorcycles.
And most often it is motorcycles and dogs. Motorcycles and dogs.
We don't have one day without talking about motorcycles, but that's okay because I love you anyways,
and we
Alex.
did it today as well.
Yes, there it is.
Yeah.
Today's motorcycle thing is done. Okay, Linda, I'm very interested in this strengths topic, and as we are a public speaking podcast as well, I'm curious how you view speaking and what type of strengths are really good in speaking and what types of strengths are holding us back in public speaking. Is that something that you can think about and share a bit?
Absolutely. I think, first of all, there is a talent called communication, specifically. So if you have one of those as one of your top talents, and just to add on here, what CliftonStrengths is kind of all about is that you have all of the 34 talents that they kind of talk about. All of them is part of you and your talent DNA. It's just that some of them come more natural to you. So it's not like if you don't have communication as one of your top talents, it's not like you're incapable of communicating, right?
Yeah.
So some have communication as one of their top talents. And of course, then it's easier it comes more natural to you. It doesn't doesn't drain you with energy to communicate or do public speaking or whatever as much as it might do for someone that has that as something that doesn't come as natural to them. So when you look at it from your talent point of view and what you're good at and what you're not as, naturally inclined to do, I think there is other aspects that you do that you might use for your communication. For example, if you are an individual that has input as one of your top talents, that's someone that, takes in and stores a lot of information and facts. And someone that shares those things are normally very interesting to listen to. So that's a way of, boosting your communication in a way that doesn't really have the same aspect as communication as a talent. So that is a bit of a very fluffy answer to that question.
Yeah, but I like it.
But I think there's so many different elements depending on who you are and what your specific set of strengths and natural talents are. But none of them means that you are incapable of communicating. It just means that depending on the situation and when and where and how you want to communicate, you might have to do certain things to kind of boost yourself or to prepare or feel confident enough to pull it through.
Yeah, I so much enjoy this topic because it feels like a lot of burnout. We talk about like things that we should avoid, or that we just need to rest more, or we should take medicine, or quit our job, or whatever it is. And the whole angle of this approach, we're looking at the strengths and what they actually lead to and what hinders us is yeah. I just love the concept because it feels like it's success based. instead of like, what are you failing at? And let's remove that. What are you good at and what's stopping you from, I really enjoy that part. I'm curious now, Linda. What is the next step for you? You recently launched your business. You've done Speaker X. You've done your talk. What is happening in the front for you?
What's coming in the future is that, of course, the field of the business is supporting leaders and teams in their development. So it's going to be workshops for them. So there's a lot of public speaking in that kind of sense. So workshops and coaching for individuals and teams. And on top of that, doing more keynote speeches about burnout or strengths or the combination of the both, either at company events or fairs, all sorts of events. I'm up for it. Anything, just shoot
Bring it to her.
my way.
Bring it my
way.
I have as we're coming into the final parts of this, I have a question. Now when you have been out working with leaders and different people in different organizations and when it comes to the communicational skills that you said that it's one of the things that you can be good at or work with, what is it that you see? And I think this goes for the people that are right now currently maybe feeling that they're either heading towards burnout or they're exhausted, or even if it's coming to the summertime. But what is it that you see that is a common recurring thing, not a mistake, but where they're not succeeding as well in their communication as like publicly speaking when they're standing leading their team? Is there something that you found that you wouldn't say, okay, guys, women, men, people across the globe, focus on this when it comes to this, so it helps you become better in your leadership or in your communication skills? Is there anything that you found with everybody that you've been working with?
I think if we talk about it from relationship to stress and stress symptoms, I would definitely say that lack of preparations is something that is a very big consequence from stress, and that also leads to worse presentations.
Have you seen any of those?
With people. I've seen several of those. I have done several of those myself back in the days, for sure. I think if we have too much on our plate, what we do, normally we stop working out, we stop doing this, blah, 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 blah. And I think that's kind of what happens also to our presentations. If we facilitate meetings, if we have a public speaking session or whatever it is, if we don't prepare enough, which we don't if we are stressed out, then the presentation falls short.
Yeah.
Have to make sure that we set aside enough time to both think about the message. What is it that I'm really keen to say? What is it that will make a difference for the audience? But also to think about, how do I want to present this? And then also practice it. I think those are kind of the things that we need to be doing, but that we don't do.
Yeah, I think in the age of AI, it's just been so easy to say, write my presentation. I need to talk to these people about something. Give me a topic. And then we just go into the next thing, and it creates a PowerPoint and creates everything for us. But
and I mean, that's fair enough. That's a great way of using your time efficiently in one way. But even if you get that, you have to review it and look at it and see, does it make sense? Do I want to tweak something? Does this fit to the audience I'm talking to? And does it feel like me talking? Or is this someone else coming across? It needs to be authentic, even if it's by help of AI.
Yes.
Human.
Yes, human. Make it human. Please, for the love of, even if you're high performing, low performing, whatever you are, don't use AI to create the entire thing. Be like Linda said, be authentic. And for the ones who can't see my facial expression right now, I'm pushing my cheeks and making a smushy face because I'm just so in line with what you're saying. It's if it could be something that would just be that this underline that, be authentic. AI is great, like you said, Linda, but at the same time, efficiency, that's great. But efficiency doesn't give you preparation.
No.
Great. Good. I'm curious, and I think that we have used the word curious a lot of times in this podcast episode. So this is one of the words that we're going to say. Curious. That's going to be the SEO for this one. I'm curious. We like to have these questions, and one of the final questions before we end the episode is we ask our guests, who would you like to see sit in our studio and listen into? And it doesn't have to be a specific name, but if you have a genre of people that's like, oh, I would love to hear politics or whatever it is, do you have anyone that you would love to invite into this place?
Well, I have someone I'm a big fan of. That is Louis Theroux. That's a big ask.
That is a high
Alex
reach.
will fix it.
We will.
I'm putting the
fix
bar
this.
up here now, guys.
Yeah, but that is good. But I would love to have him on a podcast as well. But I think it would be more like he having an interview with us, vice versa. It would be amazing.
Might be. But he's
why
brilliant.
him?
I mean, I've been a fan of his for many years. I think he is brilliant when it comes to interview technique or just having that kind of neutral, unbiased approach. And the way he gets into all sorts of situations and are able to keep his face straight. I think there's so much to learn from him when it comes to communication and, just connecting with people. So I think he's brilliant. As someone else that is maybe a bit easier to get on the podcast, I would highly recommend Niklas Delmar from the company Hey Engagemang, Swedish company, but they work with engagement and how you boost employee engagement, which also comes down to communication in many ways. He's also brilliant.
Wow. Oh, okay. So we have two reaches, one really high and one that is still high.
It's good to have goals, right?
And then you have to have a connection to Niklas as well if you want.
There's good. We like that. We like that one. All right.
Super cool. Okay, thank you, Linda. To our guests, if they want to work with you, find out more about what you do, where do you want them to go?
They can check out my website, yourmindpartner.com, or connect with me on LinkedIn.
Boom. Mic
There
drop.
you go. Perfect. Thank you so much, Linda. It's been a pleasure to have you on the podcast. I'm really grateful that you took the time come speak with us. It's the topic of burnout and specifically strength-based coaching is it's close to heart. I'm very, very interested in this topic. So I'm grateful that you came and shared your knowledge with our listeners. Thank you for doing that.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Alex?
See, when you're looking at each other, like, are you going to speak or I'm going to speak? I am going to say this before I leave the final remarks, as I always do, without interrupting him, to give it to the ending of Lucas. But Linda, thank you so much. I support every single thing that you do, and I'm wishing you the very best of just getting into people's mind and just helping them out. And everybody's listening. I love how you said guests, Lucas, but to everybody who's listening and watching this, do not hesitate a single moment. If you have something that you feel is unease or that you're feeling really that something that is weighing your shoulders, you need to reach out to Linda. She will help you, guide you in the right direction. And thank you so much, Linda, for doing the work and putting people on the rightful path forwards. Now, Lucas.
All right. Thank you, Alex. Lovely wrap up. Thank you, Linda. And thank you to you who are listening. This has been another episode of the Public Speaking Podcast. We will be back next week with a new episode. What will it be? I don't know, because that's up to Lucy, our podcast producer. But what you need to do right now is go in and give a 5-star review, leave a comment, and do all of the stuff that makes this podcast grow. Because as we grow, you grow, and we all grow, and it's all happy, beautiful, and sunshine. Have a great day, summer, evening, winter, whenever you're listening. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye bye bye.
Arrivederci tutti. Bye bye. Hej då.